Okay, I'll call the meeting order. The first item is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Minutes of the July 5th, 2022 board meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Agreement between City of Ottumwa and Wapello County for 2022 Burn Justice Assistant Grant Program. This is an annual thing. The city gets a grant and we get a small portion of it to do a variety of things with it. I think we get about $3,500.
What do you guys usually use that for?
It's different. One year we use it like for vests, those kind of things that may not have been budgeted. It's up to the sheriff.
Okay.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Project CDBG 20OT 061 and 075 single audit for infectious disease for Iowa Economic Development Authority.
Move to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Resolution number 36, 2022, business property tax credit applications.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Presentation by Food Bank. I got a call this morning. The lady that was going to do this is ill. And she's not able to be here. Just a little bit of history. Probably 20 years ago, Wapello County had an opportunity with Polk County. Polk County was giving away food boxes, and they got more food boxes than they had recipients for. So they were allowing a few other counties to buy those boxes at $5 a box and distribute them to people who qualified in their county. And we signed off to that. A few years later, when the federal government cut their budget, that meant that Polk County wasn't getting as many food boxes as they did in the beginning. So the first thing they did, and rightfully so, was cut the people that were not part of Polk County's distribution, and we were one of them. Well, we had got up between 200 and 300 families getting the food box, so we looked for a way to continue that. So we partnered with the Senior Citizen Center, with the Salvation Army, and as those entities closed, we eventually went to the food bank. And they would box up the food, buy the food, we pay them, and then we, the supervisors, would deliver the food to those who could not come in and get it. There was also a distribution day at the food bank where citizens drove up and they gave them their box. Well, the food bank 2 or 3 years ago, regulations changed. So instead of the supervisor delivering it around the county, they said they would do it because they wanted to use a refrigerated truck. And because some of the things that we took, ice cream and frozen things, when we're taking all they deliver, may not make it. So they took over the distribution. And we made a contribution to them. And the contribution was $10,000. this last year, because of the pandemic, they had suggested that we go to twice a month food distribution. And our cost for us did not increase at that time. But now they want to continue to deliver twice a month. During the pandemic, instead of somewhere around 250 food boxes, the number dropped to under 200. What they're averaging now is about 161 households a month. That's 4,259 food boxes. The average weight is 19 pounds or 15 meals. They have about 65,649 meals provided. What they would like to do, they had asked that we increase our contribution, but the program is not depending on whether we increase our contribution or not. I looked at what we budgeted in general assistance, and we budgeted right at $20,000, but that we use also for people who may want to, through general assistance, come and get a food voucher. However, over the last year, we've not done any of those food vouchers. So I think we could increase it. I don't know about going to the 20,000. We have nothing left for the food vouchers, but I think we could go to 15,000. They have guaranteed that they will continue to do 2 a month. It's double what we were doing. And they're also working, and they said over the last few months, they've seen a slight increase in the number of boxes that are families that are requesting the delivery. So it's not a program that's going away. It's very helpful when you look at the amount of food that's delivered and twice a month. It's well worth it. So I would suggest that we go ahead. That will save us. We'll have about 5,000 or 6,000 left in case we do have to, like we've done for years, families that come in and want a food voucher. Veterans Affairs still does the food vouchers, but we don't have to do that through regular general assistance like we used to. They do that on their own. That's pretty much what they went over. The program is increasing. They're going to keep it at 2 times a month. They would like to have an increase in the contribution that we give, which right now is $10,000.
I have no problem with the 15,000. I also have a problem with the 20,000. We have to amend our budget on it. It's, 5,000 is not a huge deal either. And the reason I say that is what's food costs up right now for everybody. Milk's over $5 a gallon, and as we talked about with a few of the letters we got asking to forgive their taxes, one of the reasons was utility costs, gas prices, and food prices going up. So I'm good with the 15,000. I'm also good with the 20.
Well, we could do both, really. We could say we'll do 15 now, and then January the 1st, we'll have known 6 months into our budget
We
what
can reassess it then.
if we're going to do, and then we can give the 20,000 if we have them. So, if that's okay, I would entertain a motion to do so.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
So you're gonna do 15,000 and then 5,000, right?
Yeah, we'll reassess it in January for the other 5.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Personnel, request for payroll approval, new hire, zoning manager, secondary roads. And I see you talked to him, and I went to Teresa, and the one we did, it said on their assistant, so that's clarified.
And this gets us closer, so we have the girl in there that's kind of doing the clerk now.
Yep.
This gives us a building inspector starting here next week, right?
Yep.
Like a week from today, something like that.
Next Monday.
Next Monday.
So we would be back to fully staffed.
In there.
Yes.
Are we, would that fully staff us in your department?
Yes,
As
it's
a
fully,
whole?
we do not have any more openings.
That's awesome.
We are still pursuing the
Yes.
assistant engineer.
Right.
We just are not totally sure what responsibilities it's gonna have.
Correct.
Would you want to take over the landfill?
No.
Think
That-
about, just
That
think
was a
about,
joke because he already
just-
said no.
just think about it. Move to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Alright,
Opposed, say no.
that's pretty quick. He didn't stammer, stutter, or nothing.
I'd be willing to take over the landfill if we can get rid of zoning.
Get rid of zoning.
Zoning.
If
Well, that's not something that's out of the question, because the possibility is having a separate department that, like right now, we have the nurses, shouldn't say the nurses, health board are supposed to do well closings and things like that. But they don't have the expertise, so they've given that
yes,
to you guys. So it's a possibility when we get an assistant engineer that we may have an opportunity to create a department of planning, zoning, and those health related issues. So it would take more out of like your roads department and things like septics and health related problems, condemning houses would not fall under that. They'd still be under you, but they would be under a different department. So those are all things we're looking at. But I think we've made good progress in the job descriptions that you did and
thank you.
what we've come up with, the changes that are there. It's going to be a more efficient department. And in case you don't know, we used to have a building inspector who did building. Zoning did zoning. But there are times that they're gone, vacation, sick, out of the office. And now, the way Jeff has it, we'd ask him to come up with a system that says that the zoning enforcement officer is going to have credentials for doing building inspections.
So this is kind of the other piece of that interchangeable part between
Right.
building inspection and zoning.
Yep.
We're
Okay,
still trying to find our sea legs. Give us a year to get through.
Unlike here, this used to be the building inspector. Now it's called what, zoning,
Zoning manager.
zoning manager, because he will have probably 15% of his time that will go if we happen to work on zoning. But to make it, since they're doing extra, to kind of alleviate some of their headaches, we've hired a clerk there that is going to be doing some of the paperwork for them. When I interviewed each of them, they said paperwork is just a killer. But also that clerk is going to be doing some of the things like payroll, say for that a lady who may be retiring next year is doing now.
are you kind of surprised that these two positions, this building inspector and the zoning manager, you know, it came together as quickly as it did? Because it wasn't that long ago where you guys really posted the job descriptions for each. And I know they have to be trained in certain things to be able to do the other job. But to be able to get these two, you know, positions filled and to really kind of streamline the process down there, I mean, are you surprised, or did you kind of have an idea?
Well, there's still gonna be a lot of training. I mean, this person here's a master electrician, journeyman electrician, so he knows electrical. There's other areas that, of course, he's gonna have to do classes, I'm sure testing Jeff on all that to get up to speed on the other building, stuff, the zoning
Yeah, we've
is
got-
all gonna be new, for them. So there's definitely gonna be a learning curve, and I think sometimes luck does play a role into it, of who's looking for a change in their life at the right time. And, I think with this hire, especially to get someone with that background, at least, in something major like electrical, I think he has some building knowledge that I think it's gonna be a good fit. So I do think luck plays a role sometimes as well.
Yeah.
And see, one of the ideas on this, if we always look at our job as not roads or not zoning, it's service to the public. And when we have a contractor comes in and the building inspector's out, there could be a delay there, and this helps eliminate that. So it increased the roads department's opportunity to serve the public. And you rarely would get this kind of opportunity all at once with the people leaving. Anything else to come before the board?
Have you guys heard anything about the pedestrian bridge yet? How far along is that, or if you had any discussions there?
It's not open yet.
Well, I know that.
Okay.
I know I could walk right off into the river if I wanted to,
I
but
talked to the engineer last month, Friday, and they're just now getting everything set up that Jeff sent down to them in the program and stuff, so,
They are working on it.
yeah, they've been really busy, so.
We had a request, and it's not on the agenda, and it doesn't really have to be, but we have a 9 and under baseball team that's going to state, and the 11 and under, that's clear in Sioux City. And one of the people is telling me how expensive that's going to be, because they can't, the ones in Des Moines, they can drive back and forth at night. In Sioux City, that's not an opportunity. So out of our youth fund, last year until right at the end, we didn't have anybody ask for it. So Brian did some promoting to make sure it got to be used. And now we've had this request. They didn't request any certain amount. They have 3,000
I would say 500.
each. We've got 2,000 left and nobody asked for it. So
Works for me. They can divide it up on how they want.
now,
between
some of
two
the families
teams.
have said, we are working, and we're not going to take any of the donated money. We're going to pay our and our kids' expenses to Sioux City and back. But just like in any situation, there are some families that's a difficulty for them,
I think it's $15,000 is what they're expecting to spend up there.
15 to 20. So
I think it's
I'll,
time Little League starts kicking in on some of this stuff. I mean, I'm always thrilled to see, every year, I mean, we get a couple teams, whether it's Little League or Babe Ruth or whatever, going. And the community pulled together and, they raised $15,000, $20,000 in a short amount of time.
so how long is the tournament then that they're gonna be?
It's a week,
Whole week?
well, this one here,
6 days, July 20th through the
23,
26th.
26.
Now, granted, I'm sure if they lose in 3 days or, whatever, but
I believe it's double elimination.
yeah.
So they're gonna be there for 2 games. Well, I talked to Brittany and she said she's paying claims Friday. And if I get these over to her today, she'll put them in with that. And I told the guy that was in yesterday, we would just call him and say, we've got them.
Fine with me.
Okay,
They better win.
We are, I know they got it done yesterday, they're gonna mow today, but over to the boat ramp. This weekend, there were people over there, there had to be 20 people over there boating and fishing. And the weeds along the river, they were in 3-foot high weeds, so I showed it to Dan yesterday. He's gonna go over and mow it even down to the river's edge and mow it up for the city.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Yeah, that's why they're not gonna do that.
Who's the other team? I
Pardon?
didn't say it's teamwork. Who's the other team?
I was gonna say, I think it's the team that's going to not institute the franchise
I think
fee,
that's right.
because we that are spending money for the city
City
will,
county cooperation.
yeah.
So how much are you guys kicking into the Little League?
1,000.
500 each team.
Okay,
If the league sees fit to finagle that a different way, they can do that.
okay. But it is 1,000 total.
We just do one check, or are we gonna do two separate ones?
2 checks.
Two?
And there's addresses here for to do that, but we'll call them and have them come get it. Well, anything else to come before the board?
We'll go adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no.